Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something pretty wild. We're dissecting a blueprint to create a political phenomenon completely from scratch. And the strategy? It fuses ancient folklore with modern anime to build a presidential candidate for 2030. Yeah, you heard that right.
And it all kicks off with this. Just a hat, a white fedora, red band. Simple, right? But this isn't just a fashion choice. It's a symbol, and it is absolutely packed with meaning.
So how in the world does this become a president? I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? How does a piece of headwear become the face of a political movement? Well, to figure that out, we've got to dig into the incredibly ambitious, multi-layered strategy behind this one single image. So, okay, let's get into it.
So first up, this symbol. And look, the hat isn't just some random accessory they picked out. No, it's a very specific, very carefully chosen cultural key. It's basically designed to open a door and start a conversation with a massive part of the Brazilian population that, often gets ignored. See, this hat is the signature of a figure named Ze Pilintra. He's this spiritual entity, kind of like a folk hero in Afro-Brazilian religions. Think of him as the ultimate street-smart survivor, a bit of a trickster who can move between different worlds. He's loved by everyday people for his swagger and his protective vibe. So when you see that hat, boom, it's an instant signal. It connects directly to that whole idea. Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. The strategy doesn't just lean on tradition. Nope, it takes that classic folk hero and mashes him up with the global pop culture icon. And this is where the whole thing feels, well, incredibly modern. And we're not just guessing here. The actual strategy documents lay it all out. They specifically say they want to fuse the grassroots charisma of Ze Pilintra with the spirit of Monkey D. Luffy from the anime One Piece, the huge global hit. So you've got the Brazilian folk hero on one side, and on the other, this freedom-loving pirate captain who is all about adventure and loyalty to his crew. It's a wild combination.
And here he is. This is what you get when you put it all together. The character's name is Seu Ze. He's literally an anime avatar, built from the ground up to be this confident, modern hero, but one who's also unmistakably Brazilian. You can see he's got Ze Pilintra's hat and that cool style, but he's also got the high-energy, ambitious vibe of a classic anime hero.
Now, building a cool character is one thing, but that's really just the beginning. This entire strategy isn't just for one election. No way. This is a long game. We're talking about a plan designed to build an entire movement over a 4-year period.
And the model for this, it's explicitly based on something that's happened recently in Brazilian politics. The idea is, you don't start with a party. You start by building a huge, super dedicated following and a really powerful personal brand. You become a phenomenon first. And then, once you've got that momentum, the established political parties, well, they'll come to you, not the other way around. And check out how patient this rollout is. It's a 4-year plan. But look at 2026. He doesn't launch as a candidate. He launches as a public service, a neutral AI watchdog that's supposed to monitor the presidential election for fairness. This whole first step is about one thing: earning public trust. You build the audience and the credibility way before you even whisper a word about running for office. All right, so you've got the character, you've got the long-term plan, but how do you actually launch this thing? I mean, this is the crucial part. You can't just quietly slip into the conversation. With a character like this, you have to make a huge splash. You have to absolutely explode onto the scene.
This quote here, it's from an audio recording of one of the planning sessions, and it tells you everything. The launch strategy is basically a calculated bombshell. The whole point is to light a fire under multiple, totally different, even opposing groups in society all at once. It's engineered from the ground up to create conflict and go viral.
So here's the playbook for that launch. Think of the launch video as a 3-stage rocket designed for maximum virality. Stage 1, shock the financial markets. You do that by mentioning a powerful name that, is basically unmentionable. Stage 2, trigger a culture war. You use this specific religious imagery that will mobilize one group and provoke a massive reaction from another. And Stage 3, you just let it rip. The combination of financial shock and religious controversy creates this perfect storm online, and you just ride that wave. I mean, this line right here says it all. It's pulled straight from the strategy document, Seu Ze has arrived, and Faria Lima doesn't know what's coming. It just perfectly captures that bold, confrontational attitude of the whole campaign. This isn't a friendly introduction, it's a straight-up declaration of war on the establishment.
So when you take a step back and look at this whole thing, this incredibly detailed plan, what does it tell us about the future of political campaigns? Like, what's the big idea, the philosophy driving all of this?
This quote is fascinating. It's from a debate they had while planning the campaign, and it really gets to the heart of the strategy. Think about it. When you're launching a totally new political figure, someone nobody knows, they have no record, people can't judge what he's done. So what can they judge? They can only judge his choices. And that's the key. You make his choices loud, you make them provocative, you make them absolutely impossible to ignore. His entire character gets defined by the fights he decides to pick.
And let's be clear, they knew exactly how risky this was. The documents spell it all out. They list the potential for reputational damage because of the religious stuff. They knew they could face serious lawsuits for calling out those powerful figures. They even worried about the tech. What if their AI watchdog just didn't work? And on top of all that, there was the risk that a rival could just see what they were doing and straight up copy their entire playbook.
You know, looking at this whole blueprint, it really makes you wonder. It forces us to ask a pretty big question. As our politics becomes more and more about storytelling and big spectacles, are we moving into a new era? An era where winning isn't about policy or substance anymore, but about who can tell the most powerful, the most audacious, the most viral story. That's really the question at the heart of what we've looked at today.